It's our favorite segment this week in Shohei Otani news, and it is time we have a conversation. Is Shohei Otani the best pitcher in the game of baseball? He was absolutely remarkable Wednesday night in his start. We're going to talk about that start, a bit of a broader picture when it comes to pitching, but he pitched and did not hit in the lineup for the first time in a long time. We'll talk about that. His offense, where he was offensively on the week, his on-base streak, where we're at with that, and a bit of a scare that he got at the plate when the catcher jumped in front of him. We'll talk about that at the end. But let's talk about his start on the mound on Wednesday. So he was not in the lineup offensively. He was just focusing on pitching. Now, he wasn't in the lineup because on Monday he was hit by a pitch, and unfortunately, with Shohei being a pitcher and a hitter, and also being a left-handed hitter, his right arm is the one that faces the pitcher. So Shohei was drilled in the right arm on Monday. And come Wednesday, time for him to start on the mound, Dave Roberts, Dodgers manager, said, you know what? He's not going to hit. He is just going to focus on pitching. Now, I have always said if he were just focusing on pitching, he would be maybe the best pitcher in the game of baseball. Well, what we saw Wednesday night was just pure dominance. He was unbelievable. He ended up striking out 10 guys over the course of 6 innings. We did see he struck out the side in the 6th inning to end the night. So he goes out after 5 innings. He gave up a run ending a scoreless inning streak. Gets through 5 innings, had a bunch of strikeouts, and he thought, okay, I think he was at 7 strikeouts through 5. And he thought, okay, maybe he's done. Dave Roberts is clearly kind of handling him with kid gloves. No. Shohei Otani said, I'm not done. I'm going back out there. And in the 6th inning, he struck out the side and was absolutely dominant to get to 10 strikeouts on the night. Ended up with 10 strikeouts through 6 innings, just 1 run given up, 95 pitches, 2 walks. So 10 strikeouts compared to 2 walks. It's his first run given up of the year, first earned run of the year. So it ended a scoreless inning streak of 32 2/3 innings pitched. He's unhittable. So he finally gives up a run for the first time in over 3 games, 3 full games, 9, 18, 27. He's more games than that for him. But he finally gives up a run through 32 2/3 innings. This year, it's his first run given up. Balloons his ERA to 0.50 on the year. Look, it was pure dominance. Through 4 innings of this game, only 2 balls had even left the infield. Only 1 hit. Only 2 had even left the infield. Teams aren't even making contact. He's virtually unhittable. We did see his first leadoff walk in a Dodgers uniform. Think about that. His first leadoff walk given up in a Dodger uniform. That's insane to me. Struck out the side in the 6th to end his night. We saw 22 swings and misses out of Mets hitters. 22 swings and misses. That's the most Shohei has had on the mound in a Dodgers uniform. And it ended with an absolutely dominant night. Again, 10 strikeouts in 6 innings pitched and 1 run given up. It's time we have a bigger conversation. Shohei Otani is entering the conversation of the best pitcher in the game of baseball. Is Shohei Otani the best pitcher in the game of baseball? Tarek Skubal, Paul Skeens, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and Shohei Otani. Those are the best pitchers in the game of baseball. And I think when you look at a broader scale, people in the United States view Shohei Otani as a hitter first, pitcher second. Shohei Otani himself doesn't view himself as a hitter first. He views himself as a pitcher first. I'm interested to see what people in Japan think about him in that aspect. Please leave a comment if you're watching from Japan. Do you view him as a pitcher first or a hitter first? But I think he has said as much. He envisions himself as a pitcher first. And what we have seen from him as a pitcher is absolute dominance. And I don't say that lightly. I don't think people view him as I don't think people view him in the conversation of best pitcher in the game of baseball because he's so good offensively. And that's why I think people struggle with the conversation of, is he the greatest baseball player of all time? Because I think they see his offensive stats and think he's this like, oh, he also pitches. No, you see his offensive stat and he's also one of the best pitchers in the game of baseball. So we need to have the conversation. Is he the best pitcher in the game of baseball? So let's start with ERA leaders since the start of last season. Starting pitcher ERA leaders since the start of last season. On this list is Trevor Rogers, Paul Skeens, Tarek Skubal, Shohei Otani is fourth, Nathan Eovaldi, and Hunter Brown. The fourth best starting pitcher ERA since the start of last season. Let's not forget, he didn't start pitching until middle of the year, got more dominant as he went on, and has continued that dominance. Let's take a step back. We're going to talk best pitcher in the game of baseball. Let's take a step back to a bit of a broader picture. Since 2021, the start of the 2021 season, Shohei Otani ranks first of every pitcher in baseball in earned run average at 2.75. He ranks second in expected ERA, fifth in FIP, second in strikeout percentage, first of every pitcher in baseball in opponent batting average, second in opponent OPS, and fifth in whip percentage. This is over a 5-year span. 4+ year span for Shohei Otani on the mound. And he's top 5 in all of those major categories. I think he wants to win the Cy Young Award. There's never been a Japanese-born pitcher to win the Cy Young Award. And I think the Dodgers have 2 guys that could absolutely do it. I do think it happens this year. I originally said Paul Skeens is going to win the Cy Young Award. I do think either Yamamoto or Otani wins the Cy Young Award this year. I really do. They're unbelievable. And we know Paul Skeens is unbelievable in the National League as well. And I actually think the Pirates are a better baseball team this year. But to expect the continued dominance of him continually, we'll see. He absolutely could still win, but I think Yamamoto or Otani is going to win it this year. For the first time ever, a Japanese-born pitcher would win the Cy Young Award. Shohei Otani is showing that he is one of, if not the best pitchers in the game of baseball. And he is absolutely in that conversation with Paul Skeens and Tarek Skubal and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Shohei Otani is dominant since the start of 2021. He has the best ERA of every pitcher in the game of baseball. It is unbelievable. It's remarkable. Shohei Otani continued his dominance on the mound on Wednesday against the New York Mets, an offense that is struggling, but a good offense nonetheless on paper, and just got to focus on that and only that as the starting pitcher and not a designated hitter. I actually really like the move from Dave Roberts. And it's not easy. It's not easy to get Shohei out of the lineup. It's not easy to be Shohei Otani's manager, I would imagine. Not that he's some drama queen. He's the opposite. Far from that. But he wants to play. He wants to do everything he possibly can to help the team win. And the Dodgers lineup is better with Shohei Otani in it. So to tell him you're going to start but you're not going to hit, I can't imagine is an easy conversation to have. But I do think it's the right conversation to have. I love that he was just able to focus on pitching. I love that he was able to dominate as he did while he was just pitching. And I love that we are now able to, and have been having the conversation, but we're now more so able to have the conversation that this is the best pitcher, one of the best pitchers in the game of baseball, and he deserves to be in that conversation with, I believe, the other 3 guys that dominate this conversation in Skeens, Skubal, and Yamamoto. Throw Shohei Otani's name into that. Those are the 4 best pitchers in the game of baseball. Shohei Otani, first ERA. Shohei Otani, the best ERA in baseball as a starting pitcher since the start of 2021. Think about that. That is remarkable. But one streak ended, his scoreless inning streak. 32 2/3 innings scoreless. was where his scoreless inning streak ended. Almost didn't end, by the way. Kyle Tucker, right field, ball close to being able to be caught. It wasn't caught, so Shohei's scoreless inning streak comes to an end at 32 2/3 innings. But where one streak ends, another streak continues. Shohei Otani's on-base streak has continued. We are at 48 games consecutive reaching base. He has reached base in every single game dating back to August 24th of last season. So we're getting closer and closer to passing more guys. I'm not going to say closer to the record because the record is still a good bit away. But Shohei's on-base streak continues. Notable names upcoming. We have Barry Bonds at 57 games. So Shohei's 9 away from that. Barry Bonds, 57. Joe DiMaggio, 74 games. Joe DiMaggio, the 56-game hit streak in 1941. But this on-base streak started one game before the hit streak and continued on for, I think 17 games after that. Regardless, 1941, Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hit streak, which is a record that I don't think will be broken. It is there are many untouchable records in the game of baseball that I think I can sit here right now and say will never be broken. I'm not going to say the hit streak is one of the unbreakable records. I don't think it gets broken. But it's not one of the most untouchable, which there's a lot of. Regardless, 56-game hit streak. He ended up with a 74-game on-base streak. So Joe DiMaggio is 74, 30, 20, 26 games away for Shohei. And then Ted Williams, the all-time on-base streak record, 84. 84. So Shohei's over halfway there. If Shohei doubled his current total of 48, he's at 96. Ted Williams at 84. So still a long way to go. He's got a long way to go. He's 40. How many away? 30, 36? 36 games away. And we're sitting on April 16th. So we're talking April, May, June. Sometime in June. He's got to get on base. He's got to get on base every game for, I guess, maybe late May, early June. We're talking in that territory. But he's got to get on base every game from now until then. Certainly possible. The other night, the on-base streak continued from an intentional walk. He didn't have a hit. He gets to his last at-bat, gets intentionally walked. On-base streak continues. So he's getting walked a lot. He's getting intentionally walked a lot. And obviously, the guy can rake. So we're seeing the on-base streak continue. Can it get to 84 games and break the all-time record? I'm never counting Shohei out, but we're still a long ways away from that. On-base streak continues, although the pitching scoreless inning streak has come to an end. Shohei Otani on the week hit 222 with 2 more homers, only 2 RBIs with those 2 homers, nobody on base, and 4 walks on the week. So not the most dominant week offensively, but he did tack on 2 more home runs to that total. Is walking a bunch, hit 222, and we saw that on-base streak continued. He did get hit in the shoulder. So Monday was an interesting game. Monday is really the reason we didn't see him in the lineup when he pitched on Wednesday. But Monday, he got hit in the shoulder, first offensive at bat of the game, gets hit in the front shoulder, so his right shoulder, his pitching arm, and you could tell it hurt. I mean, he was in pain. Goes down to first base, but later in the game, he comes up again, and we see this really weird exchange where Craig Kimbrell is on the mound, gets his sign, comes set, he's not looking at the catcher, lifts his leg without looking again at the catcher, all while Francisco Alvarez, the Mets catcher, is trying to call timeout, so he immediately stands up and starts running towards the mound. But as he starts running towards the mound, Craig Kimbrell then finally looks up and is in his pitching motion. The catcher freaks out. He's waving his arms. He gets back down into his squat. And Shohei, who's hitting, literally like screams out of fear of what is happening. I have never seen anything like this in my life. Never. I've watched a lot of baseball. I've never seen anything like this. Shohei was freaked out that the catcher was running out there. He had already gotten hit once in the game. Craig Kimbrell not looking, goes to pitch. Francisco Alvarez trying to call time, runs out towards the pitcher that's not looking at him, gets back down into a squat. It was unlike anything I have ever seen. And that is also a good description for Shohei Otani. Unlike anything we have ever seen in the game of baseball. Dominant on the mound, in the conversation for best pitcher in the game of baseball. Over the last 4+ years, he has certainly been a top 3 pitcher in the game of baseball. Now, he hasn't been healthy fully during that stretch, but when healthy, top 3 pitcher in the game of baseball in the last 4+ years. And absolutely in that same upper echelon conversation with Paul Skeens and Tarek Skubal and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Shohei Otani is remarkable. So again, please leave a comment on if you're watching, anybody, and you make it to this point in the video, please let me know whether you view Shohei, and I don't mean like what we should view him as. I'm as a viewer, as a lover of the game of baseball and a watcher of Shohei Otani and a fan or whatever you are, do you view Shohei Otani as a hitter first or a pitcher first? And my answer is probably a hitter. Even though I'm saying what I am today, I just think it's the narrative that we as Americans have, is viewing him as a hitter first. And I'm wondering if it's different, if that's different in Japan, because he was this prized pitcher and he was going to come over as a pitcher only to the Dodgers originally, but he decided to get drafted and go to NPB in Japan, where the Nippon Ham Fighters made him a two-way player, which nobody else was doing. But I wonder, if you're a Japanese viewer, do you view him as a pitcher first or a hitter first? And if you're an American viewer or anywhere else in the world, do you view him as a hitter first or a pitcher first? Let me know in the comments. Great week on the mound for Shohei. Offensively, an okay week. Tacked on a couple more homers, but the on-base streak does continue. Wednesday night, though, was Shohei's night. 10 strikeouts on the mound. He was absolutely unbelievable. And that was the shining moment from the past week. That was Shohei Otani. That does it for my favorite segment and a lot of our favorite segment this week in Shohei Otani news. John Smoltz will be on Saturday. We're going to do Saturday with Smoltz this week. Interview coming up soon with John Smoltz, and I'm going to ask him, can Shohei Otani win the Cy Young Award this year? Do you think he is in that conversation with Skeen, Skubal, and Yamamoto? And I think I'll know his answer, but I do plan on asking him that this week. That will come out on Saturday, and then as usual, our next episode will come out on Monday around 2:30, 3 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock Eastern time. But that does it for my favorite segment this week in Shohei Otani news. Until next time, my friends, remember, find your bat and flip it. Peace.